Anyway, Dubs, what is your big question entering this year's English Premier League?
My question is which signing, because there have been many, it's been a very active summer transfer window prior to the Premier League kicking off, and it's which signing is going to make the biggest impact for their club? Because there have been some massive signings. We know even just at Liverpool with the likes of Wirtz, Kyrkez, Frimpong, Ekitike. I mean, is Alexander Isak, are they going to get really greedy? And is he going to come to Liverpool, even though they've spent, 100 million already on Ekitike? So we'll see. I think you look at Zubamendi, you look at Gyökeres, you look even at United and how they have the rejuvenated front line there with players who have moved within the league in Mbeumo and Cunha, right? And then Sesko is a massive one. So I'm naming lots of players. I haven't even talked about Chelsea and say João Pedro and what he gives to them in terms of the focal point in the attack. But I think as much as I'd like to give it to Wirtz, because I think that, the wizardry between the lines, how intricate he is. He's almost like, I heard a podcast that I'm not going to name refer to him almost as a Manchester City player who's been dropped into Arne Slot's Liverpool. And I don't know if I wholeheartedly agree with it, but I think he has the ability to, in one of the best attacking midfielders in the world, you expect him to develop into even a greater talent for Liverpool. And you saw the lack of cohesion, I think, with Slot's team in the Community Shield, where they lost to Palace and Pens. And I think it's going to take them a little bit of time to find their footing and to find, the rhythm that they had last year and why they were so dominant across, that season in the Premier League. So as much as I want to give the nod to Wirtz here as a Liverpool fan, I think it might be Arsenal, the last 3 years finishing second, never being kind of the belle of the ball, much to Arteta's displeasure. I think it might be Gyökeres. So, you finally, I think that really exciting player, they've needed this number 9, this archetypal player that can be the focal point of the attack. And obviously he's a prolific scorer. So you drop this type of player into the season. I think that is where, is it the biggest signing? Arguably, you could say maybe not, but I think the impact that he will have within that side will allow them to elevate their play, sort of protect them maybe from a durability perspective from injuries, not just with the one signing, obviously, but what he does to the depth of the squad and gives them the type of player that they're craving and allows them to finally be contenders and to maybe reach for that Premier League crown.
I wish you'd given it more thought, but
completely unprepared.
Not a bad suggestion. Are we going with Gyökeres?
I crammed a lot in there.
You certainly did. Are we going with that pronunciation?
I looked at a bunch of different ones, and so he's a Swede, but he's by way of it's a Hungarian name, is it not? So they're saying that the G is pronounced more like a DJ, like a J, okay. And then the S is a sh. So that's why I'm going with Gyökeres.
Okay.
So you guys saw what Liverpool did. It was in the last few days when all the players pronounced their name.
Everybody will do that now.
Should all do that, especially with all the internationals.
I think they are now. I think the Premier League's making everyone do it for the international broadcasters, I think.
But it is internal, right? But I agree with Forrest that this should be something just for everybody, for podcasts, for the casual fan, for the diehard, the hardcore fan. Just put it out there and have it coming from, the horse's mouth, the player's mouth, like their own pronunciation.
I'm going to just interrupt that really quickly because we were given some really good advice on our comment section of Sony going to from Tottenham to LAFC. You're not supposed to pronounce it Sonny. It's supposed to be Sony.
No, it's Sonny. People were going back saying that he was given that nickname by the Brits, and that's how he pronounces it.
Oh, well, now I don't have a clue because the Koreans were on our comment section were saying you pronounce it like the Japanese trademark Sony.
Mm-hmm. So yes,
it's not
I did
Sony.
See that. No, but then there was a couple of back and forth as a result. And then even the guy who called his first appearance versus the Chicago Fire, the play-by-play man asked Son, he said, well, how would you like to be called? And he said Sonny. And then he's being criticized because he called him Sonny on the call. And they're saying that that's Mickey Mouse. So I just think like everybody can just relax a little bit,
Can't
right?
win.
No.
Can't win. All right.
Then
never mind.
I found all the pronunciations from Arsenal for this season.
Okay.
JC, I'm going to send it to you, and then
Okay.
maybe you could find out a way to play it. Find Eucharist and play it. Is that cool?
Yeah.
It's going. I'm seeing the link
So
right now.
you say again, you're saying the S as a Z and you're saying the G as a Y?
No, all I know, I think last year he was pronounced Eucharist. That's how I heard it pronounced.
Right.
That doesn't mean it's right.
Yeah, it doesn't mean what
Especially
I
as
was
it's kind of
saying is right
commandment.
either.
Yeah.
I want to tell everybody who's listening, apologies in advance, but I tried to do my best in terms of like how does he pronounce it, how, you know, the heritage, the roots of his name, where it comes from, even though he's a Swede. How are you anyway? I'm just saying it wasn't
liked,
just on a whim.
The Liverpool one you guys sent over, it's quite funny because you have like, you know, Mamashvili. I still don't know how to pronounce it. But then you have like Connor Bradley.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
How do you pronounce that?
Harvey Elliott.
Yeah.
You know, so
What was the
anyway,
funniest one for us? It was at the end. We were having a laugh at it. I can't remember who it is now.
Oh, the goalkeeper, wasn't it? Woodman.
Yeah.
yeah, right. Freddie Woodman.
Yeah.
Freddie Woodman. They all started laughing.
Yeah.
He should be Canadian.
Not a bad handle.
Hard lumber.
That's right.
Should be a
Timber
guest on Timber
Titans.
Titans. Yeah.
But yeah, Dubs, I think Eucharist is a really good one because we've been, you know, everyone's been campaigning for Arsenal to find a true, proper centre forward for a long time now. And it seems they have the guy now. And he's kind of player that I think the Emirates will love because his work ethic, he's all over the pitch.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And he seems to be he'll fit in really well there. And Arsenal have made some, just generally speaking, I think some really, really good signings, right?
Mm-hmm.
And is it enough to see them get over the hump? I mean, Zubimendi, you mentioned that he was a target of Liverpool last year. Never happened. Deep lying, holding midfielder, fantastic player. They get Noni Madueke, who at Chelsea last year, fantastic footballer. I like they've done a lot. Is it enough to elevate them to first place for a change? I don't know, but they're improved. A lot of pressure, Craig, I think, on Mikel Arteta this year, maybe outside of Ruben Amorim. Oh, JC, have you found it?
Yes, I have. Have fun with this.
Victor Gyökeres.
It is a silent G. Gyökeres. So
Well,
your explanation
there
was
was. Hold on. There was like a slight. Hold on. Okay.
Victor Gyökeres.
Oh,
Gyökeres.
Like he's saying the
was
G.
it Gyökeres?
Yeah.
Yeah, he is saying
Yeah.
that.
Gyökeres.
Let's try one more
Anyway, that guy.
Victor Gyökeres.
You know what? Peter Drury's got a lot of responsibility this year
time.
to
Gyökeres.
explain to us how to pronounce his name. Sorry, Craig, I was saying though, a lot of pressure on Mikel Arteta outside maybe Ruben Amorim, with the big clubs. He has to get this thing over the line, doesn't he?
Well, yeah, you got to think so, or make a run in Europe. You know, be successful in Europe would do it. I mean, look at Spurs last year, finished with 38 points,
17th in the table. Yeah.
Incredible.
Won the cup, won the Europa League, right?
Yeah, it's a tough division, no question.
Who do you have, Craig? What's your have you got a player that you think is the biggest signing or the most important signing?
I don't know. I like that 18-year-old kid at Chelsea, Willian, that they signed from Brazil.
Yeah.
Looked good in preseason so far. Played
18,
a lot of
though.
football.
18. I mean, what can you expect from the kid, really?
Well, that's right. I mean, obviously they've got a large squad and how much playing time and how he does, and probably ease him in a little bit. I'm sure.
You mentioned it, Dubs.
Instead of just cramming him in.
Correct.
Dubs, you mentioned it, João Pedro at Chelsea, and
Yeah.
we saw what he did at the Club World Cup. What's our little Club World Cup on Footy Prime? The Club World Cup on Footy Prime. I missed
That's
that.
right.
Anyway, he was incredible and just showed what they were missing. That's why they're gonna let Oh my God, my brain's not working. I'm post vacation. Who's the striker they're going to sell maybe to Newcastle? Oh my God. Oh, come on. From Chelsea. He's being linked. My brain is not working. I'm literally post vacation.
Oh, Nicholas Jackson.
Yes, thank you. Thank
Right.
you. Nicholas Jackson. Yeah. And that's why he's expendable, because of João Pedro, who might, I think he could top the charts this year.
Mm-hmm.
Brighton's the one to look at, isn't it? You always look at Brighton signings when looking at who will be the most, because they're going to sign one or two players who are going to be incredible, who they're going to sell then for 80 million in a couple of years' time.
Mm-hmm.
So, whether that's this the Greek center for Olympiacos, Koustalas, or whether it's Max de Cooper from Bruges, these players who don't know too much about. I'm not going to lie. I'm sure there's people out there that do. But I always watch at Brighton or at Brentford. These teams just have great scouting networks. And every year they pinpoint these guys that no one else does, and they pick up for a song, and then they sell them for a crap load of money in a couple of years' time.
Yeah. Even managers. They make money on managers.
Yep.
Yeah, they do. It's a transfer business of managers of those clubs.
Yeah.
I'm going to go a little bit outside the box here a little bit, as far as who I think might have the biggest effect on their team, and that's Paulinho at Spurs. This is a guy that, remember at Fulham, he was brilliant, holding midfielder, just a destroyer. The entire league was terrified of this guy. Goes to Bayern Munich, no one can blame him. But then Kimmich makes a switch to central midfield, and you're not going to keep Kimmich at the team. So he fights for playing time last season. So he goes to a Spurs team that needs some steel, I think, in that middle of the park. A team that we've already discussed are probably going to bounce back somewhat this year. I love Thomas Frank and what he does. So I think Paulinho, it's a loan deal, I think, with a promise to buy if they meet certain objectives. But he's a player that may not be the sexiest of signings, but can make the biggest impact on a team. And I expect a lot from Spurs this year, which probably means Spurs fans here, they'll let us down, right, Wonga?
Well, I'm not a Spurs fan, but
Well, you are sometimes.
you know what? I like them because of when I first started watching Prem, they had Kane and they had Son, and it was a great pairing. And then when Kane went to Bayern, once again thought, and we talked about it, that Son would maybe lose a little bit of his scoring ability, and he was just as prolific. So it showed me that, hey, yeah, they don't win a lot. They have no defense. Their set play defense is ridiculously bad, but they're fun to watch. They'll throw in a 4-3 win every once in a while, and when you're watching it, it's amazing football to watch as you're learning about the game. And I know I'm 5 years in now, 5.5, but I still feel like I'm learning every year. Like I have to still understand the transfer, the loans, and that, Thomas Frank went from Brentford and someone had to pay money for him. That's funny to me. It's interesting, right? It doesn't happen in North American sports, right? Hey, we're buying your manager.
Right.
Or it's very rare that in North American sports you see a coach make the move mid-contract, right? It just doesn't happen.
Yes.
Yeah. But it does sound like when you're talking about Spurs, like almost wistfully, you're talking about Big Ange's Spurs, right? And they're not going to be the same, like we're going to adhere to our structure and like a really aggressive style that's going to leave us weak at the back and a super high line and going to be aggressive. And we're going to do that stubbornly, often to our detriment. But we're also going to win that way as well. Yeah. Like I think they're going to be a side that's transformed, I think, under Thomas Frank.
It's exciting too, because he went from Brentford, who I semi-support or support-ish, because I like them. But it's hard to cheer for them every year, knowing what I know from your guys' conversation and insights is that they'll never be a top 5 team. So you're like, what's the point of this? Anyways, seems very Sisyphusian.
That I that whole argument. What's the point of this? That is something that isn't really discussed in European football circles. You have your team, and most supporters could never dream of their team winning anything, but you still support them, you still love them.
True.
Right? It's not about the glory, is it, Craig? It's about that appointment every Saturday.
Yeah, it's about your turf.
Yeah.
It's very tribal.
Yeah, way more than North American sports. Not to get into this anti-North American, narrative here, but it's so different over here when it is about glory. And if you fail, you get rewarded, and it gives you an opportunity then perhaps to fast track your rebuild with the draft system
and the tanking.
It's weird though to me because the big difference for me is I've always been a player. I like players, and whatever team that player was on, that's who I supported. So basketball, it was Isaiah Thomas. Then Toronto came in '95, the Raptors. And yes, there's a hometown bias, and I love the Raptors. But I always was someone who went, going back to, hey, any Canadians. I support any Canadian, like John David, Alphonso Davies, even if guys are somewhat, you don't always want to cheer for them. Whatever can support the sport or build the sport and growth in Canada. And that was with basketball. And now it's with football in Canada, soccer.
Mm-hmm.
When
So
Isaiah came to the
There's
Raptors,
different business models as well, right?
Yeah.
I mean, leagues are run very differently with salary caps. Some of them are hard caps. Some of them are soft caps. Major League Baseball pay luxury taxes to teams that don't spend as much. And
baseball were talking about a cap, weren't they, recently? At the All-Star game, it came up. Potential of adjusting their luxury tax system.
Well, they're in the same place as Prem, right? Almost like they can throw out giant salaries that don't work out. And it's the richest teams win most of the time. So they're in that same place. So if you want some competitiveness, it's a weird look. Pro sports in North America they took that from the Prem, or I don't know if they took it from the Prem, but it's been that whole time where you're like, oh, the richest team wins, which gets boring, right?
Yeah.
That's the problem with it.
When you're in the batter's box, though, it's better to go with a hard cap than a soft cap.
Yes,
it is
for
better
concussions. Yeah, absolutely. Wonga, do you have a player that you are looking?
I was interested to see how my nemesis Jack Grealish, who's seen a tumble down from the ranks of bouncing around for City, looking great while they were up, and now he's going to Everton, which is a storied team that has had a difficult time recently and has been on the right around that level of, hey, you could include them in the chat for, are they going to be relegated for the last 5 years?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm just saying they've made it, but they've in that chat, they're like 14th, 15th. I mean, Tottenham once again was 17th. I don't consider them relegation bound, but you never know, right? Like
I think they're top of the table this year. They're going to be at 10th.
Everton.
Oh no, sorry, I'm talking about Tottenham.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I think Moyes, though, at Everton, sorry to interrupt you, Wonger, I think he's going to get the most out of that squad as he's done over the course of his sort of managerial career. That's what what you're going to get.
Well, the big thing, too, is I am now cheering for Jack Grealish.
Yeah.
My nemesis, because you're like, hey, I like a redemption story, right? And,
they've got a brand new stadium, too, don't forget, right? And that counts for a lot. That's going to be amazing.
Right.
And that's I'm sure part of the reason why he was lured there, playing first. You know that new stadium smell? It lasts for a year or so, right? But you
of urine and pies?
Yeah, exactly.
Urine and stale pies.
Yes.
You don't get that new stadium smell very often in England.
No, you don't.
They've been around for a long time.
You might get the refurbished smell, but that's not the same.
That's right. Or a stand.
The stand smell.
Stand.
Yeah.
And then for Everton, you not only get Grealish, but you've got Tierno Barry, right? Like that's a big signing for them.
It is.
And by big, I mean 6'5".
Massive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No,
they're the freshest side too. I was reading that out of all the players, all the squads in the Premier League, Everton played the fewest minutes. I think the average is like 21 games last year in their squad. So they're fresh.
They are fresh. They brought in Dewsbury Hall as well, right? From Chelsea, who's a really good player.
Mm-hmm.
And
that was the private school you went to when you were a kid. Dewsbury
Hall. Yes, I was a resident of Dewsbury Hall. between the ages of 7 and 9.
That's right. With Prince Andrew.
Terrible things happened. Yeah, but back to Grealish. I think it's a great move for him, though. All joking aside, he wasn't fitting into Pep's plan there, master plan. I think Pep, he's still the greatest manager in world football, yada, yada, yada. But he kind of destroyed Jack Grealish.
Yeah.
He doesn't like players anymore. Once upon a time, he had some players who were given freedom, but they were called Leo Messi and Xavi and Andres Iniesta. But now he's likes his robots, doesn't he? More so. Although it's not really fair. I mean, look at a Doku or a Savinho, who might be leaving actually. But Grealish didn't fit into the mix there at all. And now he goes to an Everton team where he will be given freedom and direct running under David Moyes. And I think it'll be a great fit for him. Hopefully he can refund his confidence because Jack Grealish is fun, Craig, right? He's a fun player to watch.
He's a fun player to watch. Yeah.
I think too, you had like that juxtaposition with two very similar players in Doku and Grealish. Did they give you exactly the same thing? No, not necessarily, especially in the amount of talent, the depth of talent, and kind of the variables that you had within those different roles at the squad. But I think he was almost under Pep's thumb, and he was restrained and he was muted every time you saw him. I think especially the last 2 seasons and barely started last year. I think you saw that wear on him a little bit, that he was playing. And I mean, it's a typical thing and it's almost cliched where you notice the weight that certain players are playing under where they're fearful of making a mistake. And a Jack Grealish who's playing with that type of weight on him is a terrible combination. So hopefully now sort of shackles are off and he'll play, as you just said. I think freedom is the perfect word for him. And he'll have kind of that green light to express himself and drop that into an Everton squad that's going to be highly disciplined. And I just mentioned the new addition there with Barry. You've got that big physical presence and also the pace and transition, but you have kind of that wild card in a Grealish. I think will lend them a lot of quality.
He seems to me he's an old school footballer. He should have been born 20 years earlier because the way he runs at players. Yeah, but he also likes a pint.
I was going to say the way he runs the pubs. Yeah,
he would have fit so well into like the Craig Forrest era Premier League, right? It would have been brilliant. But that's not a criticism. The guy's got some personality, and hopefully he can rediscover his magic because it is magic, and England can sure do with him as well.
Yeah, the magic of those calves and those short shorts of the Craig Forrest era.
Jesus. Wow. Yeah, exactly. Imagine that. It looked great in those.
He really would.
Shorts. Yeah. Basically, you have a player that you're thinking of. I don't want to put you on the spot here.
Well, kind of. The new. It was the Mo something. I can't remember his last name. That they got from West Ham.
Oh, Kudus.
Yeah, for Spurs. Yeah, Kudus. I like him. I liked him at West Ham, and I think I mean a lot of players went out of Spurs this year, and not as many came back in. But like Dub said, I think they're going to contend this year, and I think I mean if you're named Mo, I mean guys named Mo are pretty darn good. So
yeah, and late bloomers often too, right?
There you go.